Hello and welcome to Startup Hack. Today we are going to talk about build a command line interface program with .NET Core. So let's jump right in. Make sure to check out the link down below because we always provide the code samples that you can pull down and follow along so you can see in our project. Do you want to earn $100,000 a year? Do you want to become a software developer within just 3 months? With our amazing course and awesome tutors, you never have to worry about getting stuck. We help students to learn skills that companies want to hire. We are Startup Hack. Don't forget to subscribe our channel. So let's get started. Alright, let's start with the console app and name it Order Hub CLI. And click next, click .NET support, create. Okay, now once the project is completed, click on added project file and add these 3 lines. So lang version means async main, you can use the latest. Runtime identifier enables publishing self-contained deployments. Assembly name is specified, the output exe file name. So control as this. We will use the app settings.json file to save the configuration in .NET Core. So I'm adding JSON file over here. Right, after that we will install generic host. So the host is responsible for app startup and lifetime. So here I'm installing this. By using the generic host introduced in .NET Core recent version, it will make it much easier to configure the logging dependency injection. After that, we will be installing Serilog. Serilog is one of the most popular logging libraries for .NET Core. So one by one, I am installing packages of logging over here. Once the packages are installed, here's our code. Also, we use the app settings.json to configure the Serilog. So here's the example of this. Putting the configuration in the setting file rather than in the code makes it easier to change the logging behavior without modifying the code. The configuration here uses our rolling file for each day. Inside configure service, it enables the iLogger interface available for injection by providing the Serilog provider as the logging provider. After that, command line parser. One of the challenges of writing a CLI program is how to parse the command line. We can always write the parser ourselves from the scratch, but this is too time consuming even though it is a very interesting task for a coder. So we will be adding these 2 packages for command line parser. Okay, so a complete code for the program.cs class over here. So here's the whole code of the program.cs class. Okay, now for our CLI program, we implement 2 subcommands for the first version. Order hub login, order hub list tickets. Login will allow user to log in with their credentials. The credentials will be saved locally as a part of its profile so that user does not need to log in again next time. List tickets will fetch the tickets from the web service. We have class order hub cmd for the main command, class login cmd for subcommand login, and class list ticket command for subcommand list tickets. Also, I will have all my command classes inherited from the base class order hub cmd base. That will be helpful since all the command class might want to have some common information like user profile and some common functions like HTTP request or response. So here's how class order hub cmd looks like. So here's the example. Alright, let's come towards login command. Login will save the credentials locally in a file. Also, it will verify the credentials using the order hub's API once saved so the user is aware if they entered the right credential information or not. The credentials can be passed in through the option -u and -p, or if not presented, the program will ask the credentials input at runtime. So here's the how class login cmd looks like. You can see that. Command login has 3 options: username, password, and staging. Those 3 options are mapped to properties on the class through the attributes. In the method on execute, it checks if the username or password is passed in through the command line. If not, it asks the user to input this information since those options are required in order for command to continue to run. Class prompt is a helper from the library that takes the input from console. Prompt.get password as secure string will display asterisk when user type password from the console. It writes the user profile to a file under the program will load the profile from the file and user does not need to enter this information every time. The password is encrypted when saved in the local file for security. It then calls the API to try to authenticate. Login support multiple profiles. You can log in as different users and specified in a different profile name. Multiple profiles will be saved locally later. All the commands can pass the profile option to specify which profile to use for that a command execution. If option profile not specified from the command line, it will default to profile false. Okay, now list ticket command. List ticket command retrieves the tickets from the order hub. So here's example of whole list ticket class. So it accepts start date and end date option to filter the tickets. If these two options are not presented on the command line, it will prompt the user to enter those options. It then formats the URL and call the order hub API to retrieve the tickets. The return data is JSON format. It call output JSON to output the data. Currently order hub API always return data in JSON format. Output JSON is a method on the command base class. The base class order hub command base will handle how to output the data. File name suffix is also property on the base class. File name suffix will be used to format the file name suffix if output the data to a local file. Okay, base class command. So here's the example. All the command classes are derived from the base class. Order hub command base. The base class holds some common options that applied for most commands. For example, profile output format output file, XSLT file, some protected properties that used by inherited command classes, for example, logger, HTTP client factory, console, and file name suffix. Some common methods that are useful for other inherited classes, for example, encrypt, decrypt, on exception. So here's the how the code looks like. So it's a long class. I'm scrolling till the down so that you can see the whole code in this video. So this is now end of the class. Okay, so when the class list ticket command retrieves the tickets, it will calls output JSON ticket. This is because currently the order hub API can only return data in JSON. Output JSON is a method in the base class. The method will check option output format, the option default to JSON. If output format is XML, it will convert the data to XML format using the JSON.NET libraries. JSON convert deserialize Xnode and then call method output XML. In method output XML, it will check if the command line passed in option XSLT, which points to a local XSL file. If so, we'll use the XSL file to transform the XML data to another format, XML, HTML, CSV, etc. The reason we want to support the XSLT transformation is that every customer wants to export the data to their own specific format, even though they might use the same vendor accounting software. By supporting the XSLT transformation, we don't need to hardcode the data transformation in the code. Rather than the transformation file is saved in a separate file that we can modify it without changing the program. We also pass a XSLT extension object as XSLT extension to the XSLT transformation. As the .NET only implement XSLT 1.0, we can use the class XSLT extension to implement some features XSLT 1.0 does not support or hard to achieve. The class XSLT extension look like this. So here's example. You can see. After that, we transform the data. Now we can output the data. We could output the data to the console as default, or if the command line pass the option output with the file path, we will save the data to the file. Methods encrypt and decrypt provide the functions to encrypt the password of the user profile. It uses the AES advanced encryption standard with the key related to the username of the OS, so that if you can copy this file over to another PC or use it another user, it won't work. This improves the security, but it is not good enough practice, strictly speaking. So Order Hub client is just the wrapper class of Order Hub RESTful API. So here's the example. The HTTP client passed in is created by underscore HTTP client factory that injected in the dependency injection from the command class. So when the program exits, it returns O0 for success or 1 for failure. We can define more codes to indicate the exact reason of the failure. This code is called exit code. We can define the exit code however we want in the program, but use 0 for success is a broadly adopted convention. If we manually run the program, you can get the exit code by type echo in bash or echo percentage error label percentage in Windows command. On Windows DOS, a pseudo environment in variable name error level stores the exit code. The exit code is important when it is returned to the parent process and the parent process wants to use exit code to test if the CLI command is executed successfully or not. So here's example in C# on Windows how to write exit code. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned how to create CLI program in .NET Core. So don't forget to subscribe our channel and hit the bell icon for latest updates.
To joining our course, you can simply go to our website called startuphack.com. Thank you.